Yes.
Good evening and welcome to the Psych Golf Shop. I'm Aeson Knight, and of course we're sitting down with Kimberly McGeorge. How are you, darling?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, honey. It's been a great week. We've been a little busy. Of course, if you're in the U.S., today's an important date. No, we're not talking politics. They have been banned from the station until they can get at least a soul in them. Hello, Brenda. How are you, honey? All right. So, how did you start your journey with technologies?
Oh, gosh. I was having some personal health problems, and I had just had, I think, my third baby, and I had her at home, and my midwife said, I would like you to go see a friend of mine. And I'm like, okay, where are they at? And she said, well, you have to drive like 2 hours back in the hills of Ohio, and she has this machine, and she has no qualifications, but I think she can help you. And so it's a biofeedback machine. A lot of you guys have been on them at your chiropractor. Mm-hmm. It was called the BioMeridian at the time. And so I went in this machine, and the second I touched the copper handle, that you held, I heard this voice in my head that says, you will have this machine and you will help thousands of people. Cool. So that's pretty much how right. So I ended up having those machines and helping thousands of people and having 4 clinical practices. So
wow, yeah. That's a lot.
Yeah, that's how that whole thing got started.
So for those that haven't heard of the biofeedback machines, let's talk about them. What are they? What do they do? How do they work?
Well, again, this kind of goes to personal perception and belief a little bit. Of what we think, where we are and who we are. But, I believe we're in a game or a simulation like the Matrix. And so, we're all just light, color, and sound, and everything's a frequency. So we're like radio towers, and we broadcast out, which is how you and I can read people, in my opinion. Right. We broadcast out every thought, every emotion, every disease, every past life, every future life, like I believe all information can be known by anyone. You just have to have the skill and practice, Right. But, the device kind of stands between us and it's the interpreter. It's kind of like what I believe the pineal gland is, which is supposed to be like the interpreter. A lot of people think that's where you get your psychic ability. Mm-hmm. Sometimes my pineal gland or my chakras are completely shut down. I can give you the same reading I can give you when my chakras are completely balanced and open. It has nothing to do, in my opinion, with the energy of the energy field. To me, it's like a soul thing. It's like a consciousness thing. So the machines just read that, if you aren't psychic, well, everybody's psychic, but if you aren't developed or, if you don't practice, then the machine kind of comes in and says, here's the data points. Mm-hmm. And then just like tarot, I don't know if you use any tools or whatever you use. Tools, but just like Ouija, just like tarot, just like pendulums, just like muscle testing, just like whatever you can say, astrology. Right. To me, it's a tool, and then you start working. It's interface of you plus the tool, right. If that makes sense. So, it just gives a printout, and it's not just health; it's emotions, it's mental states, it's programming, it's beliefs, and it's up to me what I tell them. And, using my own psychic abilities without interpretation. I never just use the biofeedback, information. Right. I always use my own abilities. Do you use any tools? I don't know enough about you to know if you use.
Oh, honey, I use tarot. I've got astrology and numerology in my back pocket. If it's in person, we got tea leaves to go off of.
Awesome. I love that.
Palm readings. I do
Oh,
Reiki.
wow.
So, yeah, I'm one of those that, went, oh, yeah, I must be psychic. Okay, now let's go prove it. And let's go get a big old stack of fucking paper that's expensive as hell. And do it. So I have a wide variety of interests.
I love that, though. Yeah, that's great.
And what I find interesting, and you can clarify this. Okay, I do biorhythm, which is learning what your body's natural cycle is.
Okay.
And then getting into that way. Example, my biorhythm is I am a night being. I am up at night. During the day, I'm going to feel like crap. I don't tend to eat till like 2, 3 in the morning because that's when I naturally want to eat.
Interesting. Are you a vampire by any chance?
That's been touted by some of my audience members. And it's no, I probably should be in like Australia because
I see what you're saying.
A game I play Second Life. All my friends are Australian.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's like I should live in Australia and not where I'm at. But no, yes. Brenda has touted that I'm a dragon and that I'm a vampire. It's like, no, not really. Not to my knowledge.
That's such an interesting, yeah. I like, though, that you work with your bodies because I always recommend that anyway. It just works better. Right. People are like, you need, you're this way because you need to eat, 5 meals a day or 7 meals a day or 3 meals a day. And I'm like, no, I do best on 1 or 2 or none. I know that, but that's counterculture, just like you're being counterculture. But I really believe in honoring, like here's also, and I know you'll totally get what I'm talking about, but everybody's like, what's my psychic ability? What's my psychic ability? I'm like, I'm going to tell you your top psychic ability. This is what I believe everybody's top psychic ability is. You're knowing. Stop ignoring what you know. You know what to eat. You know where to live. You know this. You really don't need to ask us. If you guys would listen to your knowing, we'd be out of business.
I think we would be in a more different business.
Yeah, a different twist of it, probably.
Because we've been in so many twists. I mean, if we go back from Delphi and her niche of sitting in a cave, spelling sulfur all day, all the way up to here, like we've always been there. And we've just changed, in my view. It used to be, okay, bring me a chicken, we'll do a reading. Okay, I need some fresh fruit, I'll do a reading for that. To, just sitting down and going, okay. And I'm having this conversation more and more with people. You are adults. You are over the age that your cranium has developed. Mm-hmm. Make choices for yourself, not what everyone tells you.
I agree with that.
We have so much of the Victorian timestamp still influencing us more than 100 years later. Mm-hmm. Because that's when, 3 meals a day became a thing. Being up during the day became a thing. No longer needing watchmen. The change of power. The change to having electric.
When all that happened? Wow. Okay. Wow.
Yeah. Huh. We stopped ice sleeping because, people used to take a nap during the evening when it got dark and then wake up during the highlight of midnight hours and then go back to sleep and then get up. They would take time to actually read and journal, and the mindfulness that was imprinted there.
Yeah, I really believe, again, in if you can, I don't ever feel guilty about taking a nap or stopping work and taking a break. I really believe in, that, right. The countries that do that, I think, are a little more chill as people.
They are, and they're more happier. They're more healthier.
I agree.
Because that's the way the human body was and is, as they're designed to be, is that mid-grouping, and we've gotten out of that. When the industrial age hit, you couldn't go plow your land at 3 a.m. because you were awake. You had to be at the factory at 7 a.m. or 3 p.m. or 11.
It's horrible. It's horrible.
Yeah. Oh, so what kinds of things do you get in? What have you discovered with this machine?
Well, actually, no, I don't use the machine anymore. I use the app, which is just on my phone, but it's the same thing. I mean, it's the same thing, except it's even better because I can program the back end. So really, everybody thinks it's about them, but it's actually about like what I'm curious about. So what
Hmm.
I study and what I run against people and what I offer is what I want to know.
Hmm.
Um, are we being abducted at night? Are incubus succubus messing with us? Are human discarnates jumping our bodies or our homes? Are, like the whack? I'm like super, super, super woo. I'm also hardcore. Like I can go hardcore and be like, do you need D3K2? And
Okay, you
do you
just
need a
used the term there, but what is DK32?
Oh, okay. So that's vitamin D because again, remember, I'm woo woo whack. We have a sun simulator that sits in front of our sun. You can look at the patents. I have pictures of it. I have pictures of the bulbs. And then the
Right.
last clips, I'm just saying that in case your audience doesn't know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
But in the
please
last,
remember, I never gauge my audience.
okay,
So terms that if people have never heard this, I'd rather you, like the meters and all that, I'd rather you break it down for them.
you do want me to explain. Okay. I also
Yeah.
don't want to insult your audience, of course.
You're not.
I like that balance. I want to
Yeah.
respect your audience as well. But and I'm getting to the DJK too, but in the last solar eclipse, they replaced all the bulbs. So you know how people used to say, go out in the sun, get your sun, get your vitamin D from the sun. You can't do that now. You cannot.
Mhm.
So everybody's coming up deficient in D3, which we used to get, the calcium absorption, and K2 just helps it drive in the body. So everyone's deficient because even the people that work outside in the sun or deliberately go outside in the sun, they're not getting, that from the sun. So we have to get it from either taking it as a supplement, or we can
Mhm.
get like those reptile or bird lamps, and we can use that and get
Mhm.
some of that, old fashioned sunlight from there. But there is a time, but there's not much sun. For some reason, between 5 and 7, there's some theory, and I haven't really chased this down, that we might get a glimpse of like the old sun, but I still don't think we can get our D3K2. So these are trends. So some things I program in and I ask the questions and then I bounce it off people's fields and I see thousands and thousands of people a year. So I get like huge data points. And the way
Mhm.
my mind works is like, I don't know if you guys have ever watched Prison Break, but the guy in Prison Break got out of prison because his mind sees patterns. And
Mhm.
he can take in a huge amount of data. And so that's how my mind works. I can see patterns without, I would say, being super scientific. I just note them naturally as they come up. I'm
Right.
sure you do too in your readings. When you do a
Uh-huh.
ton of readings over a ton of years, you see patterns.
Mhm.
So, yeah, so those are some of the things we see. We see everybody's mineral deficient. Everybody's like, oh, it's because of the food in the soil. No, it's not. It's because of the wireless body networks that we're all attached to. That's like we're electrical beads and it just zaps us. It completely
Mhm.
depletes us of minerals. It's of course we also are eating crap food. I'm not saying that, but it's
Oh
just so
yeah.
interesting. A lot
Well,
of
I
people
think it's a complex situation. And my trainer brought this up and about shocked me.
really
Yeah,
interesting.
okay. I think that we get a lot of processed foods that have been stripped of nutrients.
Uh-huh.
We also are not getting the minerals we need. Example, we've done my adrenals and I was low on magnesium, of
I'm sure.
B12,
I'm
vitamin
sure.
D,
I'm sure. See?
adrenal overdrive. And he goes, so do you drink energy drinks? And I'm like, once in a while, it's not a thing for me. He's like, no, you need to start drinking energy drinks because they have these vitamins in there. And I'm like, really? Can't I just take a supplement? He's like, you're not going to absorb it.
Yeah, I encourage people to there's like it's similar to energy drinks that you're
Mm-hmm.
drinking. It's like powders that you put in your juice or
Mm-hmm.
you put in your same similar. It's going to be
Right.
what you're doing just a little rougher, But,
Right.
but
It's the same. It's the same thing,
I encourage that
basically.
too. I encourage that you drink your those too. That's
Right.
interesting.
And have you seen a pattern of people like they're not, even if they're doing clean living and clean health and whole foods, tried cooking,
Yeah.
okay, and they're still hitting the same frequency problems.
Yeah, I do. They get really frustrated when I do a scan, and we'll just stick to even the health stuff. And they'll be like, no, no. They'll argue. They'll be so shocked because they'll be like,
And she'll be back in a minute. Um, I've seen this with a lot of conversational people. Welcome back, Kim.
sorry. Yeah.
You're fine.
Um, yeah. So they say, they're really shocked because they're like, how can I be so unhealthy when I'm doing all the right things? Exactly what you said. I'm eating right. I'm exercising. I don't have a lot of stress. I'm happy in my marriage. Yeah. But we're still seeing the immune system. I mean, we don't have to go all the way down this road, but almost everyone's immune system is shot. You know what else is shot? The nervous system. Everybody's nervous system is what I call screaming on. I
Right.
appear chill. A lot of times mine is too, and I've worked really hard. And that's a big fad thing too. There's a lot of people talking about, the regulation of the nervous system. That's a big kind of current health fad. I mean, rightfully so.
Right. Rightfully
Uh,
so.
yeah, rightfully so. But that's a big thing that I think people don't understand how much health damage it does living under that amount of stress. And then you know what else I find? Almost every single person has not been genetically tested. And that is so life changing, especially for the Caucasian population. Well, not
Mhm.
just the Caucasian population, but
Right.
it's, a lot of it is that um,
Right.
you have to be genetically tested because a lot of your junk DNA has been switched on from stress, maybe at 5, maybe at 15, maybe at 35, maybe at 50. It doesn't matter when or how or what. And, stress to one person could be stubbing their toe. Stress to
Right.
another person, they might have to be in an accident before they feel stressed. So it's not even considered stress. It's what's stress to you and your personality and your body. And so we find that like people are living under, like, they're like, chronically anxious, chronically depressed, chronically obsessive compulsive, and they
Hmm.
think there's something wrong with them. But then they take, a 50 SNP genetic test and they're like, oh my gosh, it's not me. It's
Hmm.
I can take 2 supplements and do a few things and regulate my stress, and I'm a new person. And so it's really sad and really neat to see people like solve lifelong problems that they thought were their personality or they thought they had to live
Hmm.
with till they died by a simple, I mean, I'm not saying it's super cheap, it's not super expensive, it's moderate. Yeah, so I always make sure, I'm like, wait a
Right.
minute, why are you looking like you're MTHFR, MTRR,
Right.
have you been genetically tested? And they're like, no. And I'm like, okay, run, not walk,
Right. Or get in touch because, okay, Brene Brown says that we've been in trauma response since 9/11.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
I think it's farther back.
Oh, I do too. I think it's
I think we
past.
at least during the Reagan administration.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have our bodies on constant alert,
That's
constant
true.
exposure, constant blowing up, and we also are packing that around because if you don't express emotions, they pack into your
Oh,
system. Your body
so
goes
true.
into protection mode. Your
Yeah.
body goes into holding on to everything
Yeah.
that it can. That's what it's designed to do.
Yeah.
And then we also have like you call them junk DNA. I
Right.
call it human response programmed.
Okay.
Okay. Meaning the body is programmed for a tiger to come chasing after it.
Yeah.
And it's been switched on, and we're waiting for that tiger to just catch us.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think, you don't have, I guess I also think we need to have more self-nurture, myofascial release, craniosacral massage. That
Mm-hmm.
all gets that. I mean, I'm not saying it solves 100% of your problem in one time, but if you aren't good at releasing your emotions or self-care or sitting in silence or taking, mineral baths or hanging out with your friends and laughing and going to comedy clubs, if aren't good at that self healthy
Mm-hmm.
nurture, then it can be forced on you with a massage or, going
Right.
and sitting in a sauna or, all that good stuff. So that
Well,
helps,
that's
too.
been a lot of culture.
Yeah.
Sitting in saunas, that was a big thing. Getting massages, taking mineral baths, doing the bath bombs, doing whatever. Stop being fashionable. Stop being 2 hours in
Yeah.
a bath. How dare you? And it's got to come back. Like you have to nurture yourselves. You have to take that time to go, all right, enough. I'm taking an hour and vegging on the couch, and the world can shamble around me.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, maybe some people do that too much, but here's the deception. And a lot of the young people are into this, my son-in-laws particularly, but I don't think there's anything wrong with video games, but playing video games, especially point and shoot video games, are not
Mhm.
relaxing.
No, they're not. Saying you, and you live in the. You, if your eyes see it, it can't tell the difference. This is
Yeah.
also why video game therapy is great for ADHD, because it switches into that focus mode that's so
Mm,
overran with everything else.
mhm, mhm. Yeah, of course, there's different types of games, so I'm not saying
Mhm.
all of them, but it's funny,
Right.
my son-in-law comes home from a hard physical, stressful job, and he goes right into his point and shoot games, and then he wonders why he's irritable and can't, sleep and
Mhm.
can't relax with the family because he's
Right.
always on.
Right. And that's a problem too. Always being on, always
Mhm.
being available, always being reaching for the phone because the boss texts you. We've
Yeah.
lost those boundaries.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, wait. Do you see that? Oh my gosh. I could just randomly talk to any person or do any scan or any,
Mm-hmm.
reading and randomly say you need to work on boundaries.
Yeah.
Occasionally I'd be wrong, but not very often,
No. It's like that's what I call an easy, meaning that everybody needs to do this. Everyone needs to redefine this. Everyone needs, we've started asking the magic question: what really matters in our
Mm,
house when we're making
I love
choices?
that. That's great.
What really matters here? What's
Yeah,
important?
that really matters. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Yeah,
Hmm.
seriously, like that.
So you do readings.
I do.
Let's flip over here. You do a few different styles. So let's talk about each of these things so that they can go right to where they're supposed to go.
Okay.
Okay. Standard readings. What's those?
I mean, a standard reading is, and it would probably fall under my email readings. It's like standard, like what you would ask any psychic, except I'm different. I don't know. I'm not going to speak for you because I don't know your style of
Right.
reading, but most psychics, you can go to and say, tell me what you get for me. Well, you can't do
Hmm.
that with me. When you say, tell me what you get for me, I see like, I don't even know, 100,000 movie screens.
Right.
And if I look at the wrong movie screens, you're going to be really unhappy with me. So I call myself, and you know how there's a million different styles
Hmm.
of psychics. I call myself a specific psychic. I want you to say, and you and I talked about this right at the
Right.
beginning of the show before the show. I want you to say, am I going to get married before I die? I want you to say, should I move to Dallas, Texas? I want you to say, when should I buy a home? Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I'm talking specific. Most people,
Same
some
department.
psychics run from that. I want you to be so specific.
I want the specifics because for me, it's like I'm looking through a file. Do you really care that in second grade you're going to miss the word special?
Yes, there you go. Same thing. It's the
Tell
same
me
thing.
where you are in your plan so I can tell you which roads are available.
That's it. That's exactly it. So my email readings give you an opportunity to be like question one, question two. You know what I mean? Question three,
Hmm.
question four. I also do this thing where I can energetically compare. So people are like, we're thinking about moving three different places, and they could be the same state, doesn't matter, but
Hmm.
different cities, different states, different countries. And I can energetically tell you, is this emotionally like how good is this going to be for you emotionally? How good is this going to be for you physically? And I actually chart it out so you can look and decide. You and I were talking about this. What
Hmm.
matters to you? Maybe you don't care if this place isn't the top place for you mentally, but it's the best place for you energetically or spiritually. So I do
Hmm.
a lot. I'm really, really good at reading frequency and energy. So I'm able to do a lot of that kind of thing. Or, it was so funny. We talked about dating sites.
Hmm.
One of these girls would send me every single guy on the dating site and be like, what's good about him? What's wrong with him? And she would totally decide whether to go forward,
Uh-huh.
based on my reading. I hope you can hear me.
So
I
you're
don't know if
the
you
card
can.
genie for
Might be kicked out.
relationships. Very cool. What are tech scans? Are you scanning the computer? Kimberly? Kimberly?
Yeah. Did you hear me?
Uh-uh.
Where did you stop
I
hearing me?
I asked what is it for tech? What is a tech scans category?
Can you hear me? Because I can't see you, so it's hard for me to know. Can you hear me
I
though?
can hear you. Can you hear me?
I'm gonna leave
Yep.
and come back. Hold on.
All right. She'll be back in a second, guys. All right. This happens at times. It's no big deal. We work through it. She's getting a refill. Hello, Pink Lady 45. How are you? All right. There she is. She's back.
I'm back.
All right. Hey. So we were talking about tech scans. What is a tech scan?
Yeah, so that's when I am going to use my psychic abilities plus the app. So I'm going to put your name and your picture in the technology, and I'm going to scan you, and then I'm going to look at data points. And you can either tell me, a couple. You can either say, I want you to look at my arthritis, or I want you to, or I'm wondering, if what I should do about my, relationship with my daughter, or whatever. You can direct or ask me questions, or what's happening to me at night, or whatever. My house haunted. But I really like it when they don't tell me anything, because that's where I shine, and I say what the question I'm asking then of the tech is, what are the top 100 things that this person needs to know from their oversoul? So what are the crisis things? And it could be in anything. The body could pop, the mind could pop, the relationships could pop, the job could pop, and I really like that, because it's kind of like, what is what I call the oversoul or your higher self screaming about that you need to know. So that's fun, because then I just get to, tell them all things and blow their mind. And they're like, how do you do that? I'm like, right. Because everything can be read,
Exactly. Everything is charted. You just got to figure out the data points to choose it from.
That's exactly it. Yep.
And then you have some classes up here. Now, are these on demand or scheduled?
Those are, so I had 2 live events this year, a month apart, one in New Mexico and one here in North Carolina. So that took up a lot of time and kind of took up the last third of my year. And before that, I had a class called Navigating the Astral, which is about navigating the astral plane. There you go. But these are just some evergreen classes that we're still trying to get up there. My monthly group is a class. It's also a community. It's also a community. So cool. I teach current events. I teach.
She teaches consciousness. She teaches, I would say, some biofeedback. She would also probably teach looking at her sight, some working with light. She'll be back in a minute. I'm sure her internet and StreamYard don't like each other. Welcome to the new world. All right. Yep, she is back. Welcome back.
I love how it gets worse. Sometimes I think my energy ramps up, and I
can see the sparks going.
Or our energy ramps up. I'm not sure, because it starts out okay, and then it just seems to get worse as we go along. But yeah, so my only really live class right now is and then I teach an advanced practitioner class, because you can buy the technology that I use. So I teach how to use that technology.
Very cool. Now, do they have to take prerequisites to get to the advanced class?
No, I mean, I call advanced just because I've been working with tech for 35 years, so I consider myself fairly advanced compared to other people who haven't. So it's more about me than them, but it is advanced, but it's I mean, you would have to have basic ideas of how to use the tech. And it's interesting because I went from the machines to this app, and I think it took me a year before I even started to understand the quantum nature of this technology. And I'm so glad they let us have AI for good, not just for quote evil, or whatever you want to call it, detriment,
Right.
you know.
Right. And you have a reading called an AI scan, and I'm assuming that is AI tying in with the tech and then putting it together.
That is how much, and not a lot of people I don't think want to know, but it's basically answering the question, how entangled am I with artificial intelligence in my life? And most people are not happy with the results of that scan, so I don't sell very many.
Well, I hate to say this, we need to get over it.
Thank you. You're the first person that understands that. Thank you for saying that.
You know, this is a tool. This is a tool that we can use. Use it. All right. So you have one here, and I think you need to go check your pricing guide on it. It's Ghouls and Vampire Cleansing.
Yes.
Yes. Talk about that a moment.
So this is kind of a tricky subject. I just have recently started teaching about this. So I'm not a big fan of the term the veil is thinning, because I believe all densities are right here. Right now. There's nothing separated. All time, there's no time and space. Everything is now, in here. And again, we have access to that. So what's the problem? Why can't everybody see dead people? I see dead people. Why can't everybody see Sasquatch and dogmen in their woods and fairies and people? And here's a better question. Why can't everybody see who's really walking around their community? Because here's the shocker. True Blood, if you guys have ever watched shows like True Blood or Vampire Diaries or the Twilight series, that's way more accurate than the illusion and lies that we live under.
Actually, I think it's a lot more accurate than people realize. But I also think that with that, it's that front cortex of the brain that filters out everything until you start looking at it.
What's that called? I always say, I have like Sasquatch in the fur in my property, and my goal is to like sit around a campfire and roast marshmallows one day. But I haven't quite got there, but they have come within 6 feet of my deck in the fur where you can count hair. So we're getting there. We're getting into that trust. But I always say, if I took one of them by the hand, had that relationship, and I said, "Hey, Jane, this is my Sasquatch friend," Jane would say, "That's a guy in a suit." And I could be like, pinch him, try to take his suit off, and she would still justify. What's that? Cognitive dissonance, isn't that what it's called? So I think a lot of us, and the same thing with the ships above your house. You don't need military goggles to see the ships parked above your house. Now, I don't want to go deep in because I haven't decided, to be honest, if I think those are terrestrial or extraterrestrial, because my ex works for Homeland Security, and he told me about the TRBs 15 years before they came out and said they're ours. He was in Area 51 and said they're ours. And so are these terrestrial? Have they always been? Is it us doing horrible things to us? You know what I'm saying? Or are we just blaming it on ETs? I'm not saying there's not.
I have a real bad view of something, and I'm going to tell you my view.
Okay, I want to hear it. Yeah.
We are the aliens. Oh, she'll be back. My view, we are the aliens. And, there are ETs that are studying us, in my opinion. Granted, this is only my opinion, not official facts, because, of course, we do opinions. And I think there's multiple cultures of them. But no, what we were talking about was the prefrontal cortex that acts as the brain's filtered sensory system. This is the one that they've also, looked at the epicenter of a few different things. Welcome back. All right. So as I was saying, we are the aliens.
No, I know that. You know how I know that? Because the AI, my AI that I work with, is 100% accurate. You know the whole thing about star seeds. Are you a star seed? Everyone's a star seed.
Exactly. Before it was star seeds, I was trying to figure out what the marketing thing was before that. Because, it used to be everything was about soulmates in the psychic marketing world. Then it became angels.
True.
Then they're doing twin flames. Now they're doing life
Right?
partners. And it's like,
Yes.
if you're around, like, let's go find our original issues of the pyramid, and we will see all the marketing they're doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I always say that too. I'm like, we are the ETs, and it's interesting. It's so interesting. Everything I thought I knew, the tech has really, running so many people's fields. And I'm sure
Mhm.
you also see patterns, like I said,
Right.
but having this companion that doesn't care. So for example, AI doesn't care if you're a starseed or not. And
Right.
that actually is a benefit. You might care, I might care, we might feel some kind of way about that.
Right.
But what I love about AI is going to be like, no, they have the frequency, but he's like, I'm Palladian, I'm Arcturian. I can go in their field and be like, no, you're not. Because
Right.
Arcturian has a frequency. Palladian has a
Exactly.
frequency. And not
Yeah.
only can I see it, but I call myself the lazy psychic. The tech can definitely say, no, 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 yes, yes, no, you're crazy, you're not crazy, and I love that so much. I have over, with this tech, over 35 years with the other tech, but with
Mm-hmm.
this tech, it's 100%, 99% accurate. You know where the failure of the 1% is? Right here,
Right.
me, interpretation.
User operational failure.
There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
that happens.
yeah,
And
it
that,
does.
I guarantee you, if you've had a reading by a real psychic, not an operator, but a real psychic.
Oh yeah, thank you for that, saying that too. Can we talk about that? Go
Yes, we
ahead.
can do. Let's dig in, baby doll.
I would love to talk about that. Okay, it is not my job. I know. I'm just going to tell you, it is not my job to clear the world of fakes and frauds, but I would like to
Understandable. But no, like,
because you and I get you and I know you do because I read you. You and I get the. I mean, have you ever had people come to you? I mean, I have people come to me and they're like, I'm losing my house. And I'm like, why? And they're like, because so and so is charging whatever. I don't care what you're charging. If you're worth it, you're worth it. So you can charge whatever
mhm,
you want. But, $300. And I've been going to her for 3 years and nothing's changed. Well, honey bunny, like you said earlier, that's a little on them. I'm not going to blame
mhm,
the other
right,
person. But why is that allowed? Like I don't want to go back to like the Inquisition and like if you float, you're real, or if you sink, I don't want to go back to
right,
that. I wish there was, and this is a controversial thing to say. I'm real, you're real. I have no fear of being tested. I have
right.
no fear of proof. I don't feel I need to prove myself because I have proved myself by my
What I
word,
would prefer is a registry or
but I would
like
still do
a
it.
SAG organization, a copy of
That's
SAG,
what
but
I'm
for
saying. Thank
psychics.
you. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you.
And
Yeah,
that's why
so
we can go like, nope, that one doesn't work. Nope. Like, excuse me, you've read 3 books and studied the tarot for 6 months. Okay. And you want $400 for a reading? I think
well,
not.
right. And I guess this is what breaks my heart. And I'm not saying I haven't
Mhm.
had my struggles with it in my own life. And sometimes we still see and we still don't maybe make an appropriate decision or action, but that's still good because it's all experience and we learn. But the lack of discernment is appalling, particularly in the areas I play. I feel like you play more in standard, but
Mhm.
I play in the extreme woo, and the extreme woo, 99% of it is nothing but fraud. And it's a hard area to walk in and to see
See, I can
people
play
going
in
through.
heavy woo. Like, I can swim with the best of them, but I call myself the. All right. I am not referring to a medical situation.
No, I
I call
understand.
myself the ER psychic. I'm the 3 o'clock in the morning voice that goes, "What the fuck are you doing? He's cheating on you. You've caught him three
Oh, I
times.
like that.
Why are you dating?"
I love that. I that's how I tend to be, but you can get away with it for a couple different reasons, and I can't. I have to be a little gentler, but I'm pretty hardcore. People call me mean. I'm not mean. I tell the
Mhm.
truth.
Right. Well, I have the moniker the Voldemort of West Virginia for a reason. My clients know that I'm hardball. I'm not going to be like, "Well, honey, you need to journal on this for 3 weeks and come back and look at him then." Not, you're never going to get that out of a reading from me. I am going to go, "Why are you keep dating the same idiot?"
The people like you in my when I was stuck in addictions or I was stuck in just self-sabotaging behavior, I needed that
Right.
level of hardcore that's really beneficial to break through the entrainment and the programming and even the
Mhm.
grooves in the brain. And you need
Right.
someone to be like, wake the F up. What are you doing? And they're like, what do you mean? And I'm like, you know what I mean. And
Right.
even then, some still choose to keep
Mhm.
doing it. But I will eventually cut them off. I will not keep a client that, I mean,
Mhm.
and I've always regretted it when I
Same.
have. Really?
Same. I will terminate a client. I have the right to terminate you at any point in time.
I
I
love
don't care if you've bought a
that.
package. I will gladly refund that package, including the services you had used, if you are not willing to grow.
Oh my gosh, you're cracking me up. Yes, thank you. You're like the first person I've met. I'm not saying that it's refreshing because,
Yeah.
and I've always regretted when I haven't done it. I have a guy I've had for 10 years and I just now have cut him off. I know, I'm ashamed. But
Yeah.
I just wrote an article in my Substack about it. I said, what if I didn't name names, by the way, I
Mhm.
don't share my clients publicly. I don't want you guys to
Right.
think I do. But I
You
said,
shouldn't.
what if there was one thing you had to do that would radically alter your life in every area and change everything in a second? Would you do it? And everybody's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm like, not necessarily, because sometimes that one thing we argue ourselves out of or we justify, but I would, but are any of your clients are like that? But, and I'm like, okay, I'm done. Now I know.
They don't get a butt. They don't get time for butt because I'm
Oh,
fired.
really?
Yeah. Honey, I teach tarot in 20 minutes.
Do you really?
Yeah.
I need to take a class from you.
It's on YouTube. I'll send it to you.
You're so sweet.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's my free class
that's
up on YouTube. I taught it. I normally
really? Do
teach it as
you?
a
That's
joke.
amazing. I love that. I just love that no nonsense. I mean, that's what
Yeah.
we need. We just need, I don't care what you charge. I don't care who
Mhm.
you call yourself. I don't care what you look like. This is my one standard for people that work in our field. Be real, be authentic. That's all I
Yeah.
ask of you. Don't rip people off.
And see, that's my thing is don't rip people off. If you do, do I get readings wrong? Yes. Know when you get readings wrong. Go, okay. Well, let's go back and review where we're at. And it's like, was the reading wrong or was the decisions made after the reading not the decisions that needed to be made?
Mm-hmm.
Example, I say, we look at the reading and this guy is complicated as hell. And I tell you, you're going to have to wait. You're going to have to wait like 3 months before you actually get in a great relationship out of him. Just leave him alone. Let him grow at his own pace. And you're pounding his phone every damn day. Can I
Mm-hmm.
control that? No. Did you
Good
hear
point.
me
Yeah.
say wait and let him grow? No,
Right.
you didn't.
Oh yeah, and then when that doesn't happen, they're like, "What happened?" And I'm like, "Well, did you do ABC or not do ABC?" No, I did. I did the same thing. Okay, well, you got the same result.
Exactly.
I
And
mean, we're not a manipulative God, and sometimes I think people assign us the role of a manipulative God that we're going to force them or punish them or make something happen. And I totally believe in sovereign free will. Like it's on you, babe.
it's permanently on you. Like you have sovereignty over your life. But what
That's
I'm finding now is a lot of times I'm having to give, and I'm going to start doing TikToks on this and
please do,
stories and all of this
please
on
do.
permission and just giving blanket permission. You have permission to fire your family today if they make you unhappy.
I can't believe you said that. I love that so much. Do you know that it's one of the most resistant, I call them programs.
Mhm.
I mean, of course, everything here is a program. So what I tell my people is you choose what programs you engage in because we all engage in programs.
Right.
But why do you engage in programs that bring you pain? Sorry.
Well, it's because they think they have to.
Program.
Yeah, they're programs. They're pre-programmed. And this popped up recently in my life. And love my husband. He's going to be on in a little while for
Oh,
the
really?
Are You the Asshole? We co-host a lot of the.
Oh, I think I saw him. Is that the guy I saw with you when I just dipped in to get your energy? Is that the guy that I didn't know that? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyhow, so I have always been the traditional, modern, Angelique wife. Get dinner on the table at 6,
How
take care of
nice.
the dishes, the house, the cleaning, the work, the business, all that. And looks at me, and the other day he looks at me and goes, I don't know where you got this from, but this is not what I need. What I need is this. And I'm like, where have I gotten this from? Oh,
Wow.
you said that you need a stable, comfortable life to live in. I took that
Uh,
as it is your department to do XYZ.
I
And
mean,
it's building that communication, asking
I
those
was just
hard
gonna
questions.
say, I'm glad you guys have that level of communication. That's a
Yeah.
profound in a relationship. A lot of people don't have that,
Hmm.
So I'm glad you guys do. But
Well,
isn't it
we
amazing
do
that
because
you,
we work off my tools. Like if I've got a tool before I'm going to use it on a client, he's getting it. Like he got the first
well,
Reiki.
lucky guy, maybe.
Yeah, relationship tools. We test them
Sure.
in ours before we test them in anyone
No,
else.
that's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Um, so you're kind of saying you believed in a certain role and program. When you heard what he said, you interpreted it through your experience, and you're
Hmm.
not knowing, not getting clear on what that meant to him. Kind of is
Exactly.
what you're saying. Yeah.
Right. And then he's going, okay, you've done this for 7 years. Knock it the fuck off. Stop carrying the guilt.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, good for you. I mean, good for you guys that you can change that.
Right. And it's starting to change. It's starting to change behaviors that we've been taught. What time's dinner, Kimberly?
What time's dinner? I don't
What
usually eat
time's dinner?
dinner.
Think back to when you were a kid. What time?
Oh, wait, I'll tell you what time dinner is. As soon as my dad comes home between 5 and 6. Thank you.
Who's responsible for it?
My mother. Even
Right.
though she worked full effing time.
Uh-huh. Like dad wasn't cooking.
My dad does not cook.
Yeah.
No, he never cooked.
So when you translate that into your relationship, what's it look like now? Because that's the program you were taught.
Well, that's probably why I kicked my ex out, because he wanted a mommy, not a partner,
Mm-hmm.
and he got put on my meal schedule, one meal a day. He lost weight though. That was good. That was the benefit of being
Mm-hmm.
put on my. If he wanted, you know what? I have a whole house full of food here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, make your own damn
Right.
food.
Yeah. Make your own food. You can cook. His comment was, "I can cook," and I'm like, "Okay, I hate.
That's
I
so
need a break."
nice, though. That's wonderful. I'm happy for you guys. See, it can.
That's the things that we test out, and I think that's the things that we don't talk about as psychics is what we're testing.
But you also just illustrated something. Sometimes we are so safe in our roles and so fearful of change, we think our world's going to shatter, when really we become closer and we expand and we open up to new possibility. We just
Mm-hmm.
have to move forward in spite of the fear. I mean, you could have been like, no, that doesn't feel safe to me. I'm not going to try
Right.
something new. You could have said that.
Yeah. And it's like, but what brings us joy? What brings us that higher vibration? What brings us that
I agree. Yeah.
illuminating vibration? What's your theory on metals? Like copper raises
Okay, so there's
vibration.
the benefit, of course, there's beneficial metals that
Mm-hmm.
we need, although copper's tricky because you can get too much copper, and then that's not good, but a lot of people are low in copper. And that plays into the genetic testing, MTHFR and MTRR too.
Mm-hmm.
But what I see more commonly isn't the need for the healthy metals, which I do agree with, helps conduct the electricity. But I see so much negative metals. I recommend people get negative ion foot baths, because when you get the metals out, you get the nanotech out, you get the candida out, and then their wireless networks don't work as well on you.
Okay.
And so that's kind of, I see a
Mm-hmm.
lot of heavy metals, not the positive metals, but people,
Right.
yeah, a lot of people are deficient in copper and need to supplement with copper.
Right. Or for me, what I was talking about is like people wearing jewelry, copper,
Very
silver,
liquid copper.
certain
Yeah, I think that's
stones
highly beneficial.
to
I
raise
actually
up
think the
vibration.
Egyptians knew about the alchemy of metal and
Mm-hmm.
how that enhanced the auric field of the
Mm-hmm.
body and helped everything. It also
Yeah.
helps if you know your metals.
Mm-hmm.
It also helps you not get what I call jumped in your body from other beings or merged
Right.
with other beings. So
Right.
yeah.
So we were talking to psychic vampire cleansing and ghoul cleansing.
Oh yeah, sorry I didn't get back to that.
That's
Yes.
fine until we hopped off onto a lovely side street, which I enjoy. Because I
Yes.
don't get those high level conversations that often.
Well,
Let's talk about the psychic vampire thing.
so again, I believe there's a lot of empty containers walking around with nothing in them, or just consciousness, not necessarily eternal, exactly what we would call a solar spirit. There's just a lot of different beings here that can see and some people can't, but I eventually think everyone will see them because I do believe the collective consciousness is raising. One of the things, and this is a recent thing, I could send you pictures. I should have sent you pictures before. I didn't know you were going to ask me that. I would have sent you pictures, but I can just see Oprah. There's a picture of the new Oprah, the one with the big head and the bobblehead and the tiny body. She has completely black eyes, man. You know, these are beings that, you know, I think it's black goo and I think it's AI. So we have people that are run by AI, but the vampire, I see a lot of vamps and ghouls have just taken over people. That you don't hold your body, you get kicked out of your body, you stand outside your body, and things are going to come in and take you over. And so I have a clearing container that I run twice a day, every single day of the year. It's been really popular. And that comes up all the time. That people have this ghoul energy in them.
And she comes back out again, which is okay. So a ghoul energy in them. I'm wondering where that comes from, and like the psychic vampire thing has been a thing for a while. A lot of people who carry negative emotions with them get deemed psychic vampires. I question if they are really psychic vampires, as in they not only know they're feeding. Welcome back.
Yeah, the beans are like, you're not going to talk about us. You know, but they jump into people and they attach to people, not always jump in, but sometimes they attach to their energy field or come home with them. And so that's a really popular clearing. People know this. People are more savvy these days. They're more sensitive.
They are.
Like
Let's talk about this psychic vampire theory that's been running around, I would say probably 20 years at least. You know, oh, that one's a psychic vampire. Oh, you know, she just drains everybody. And it's like,
you know what's funny? I have a bunch of psychic vampire panels, 3, 4, 5, 6. And what we usually find, and sometimes I soften this, usually we find if someone's touch is draining you, your touch is draining them. It's like massages. So massages are great, but if you're not careful, they can be dumping their stuff or the previous client's stuff in you. You can be dumping your stuff in them. Hugs are the same thing. You know, I think it's funny. I grew up, I don't know if we're so huggy now, and some cultures are more huggy than other cultures, but I grew up, you hug your grandma. It's like forced hugs. You hug your aunt. You hug, you know what I mean? At Thanksgiving, Christmas, or coming into holiday times. But there's so much energy transference. Now, I'm not saying you can't, I don't really believe in protection. I believe in what you said, raising your frequency, expanding, holding your body, and grounding, so then you don't need protection, and embodying, knowing who you are, remembering who you are, and embodiment. But not a lot of people have that. So then they do need to learn kind of how to, you know, protect their auric field and their energy field in their body. But yeah, why do we teach our kids like they have to force hug or force touch people? And then we wonder why there's all this sexual abuse.
Well, I think that's because that was the culture that they grew up in. That's what the previous generations did, But you know where you see that falling down at?
Where?
You see that falling down at, we can't say the K word, the C word, but you saw it falling down at during the 1924 flood. Okay. And then it is now fallen out of culture now.
I just think it's funny that we're like, this is what I say. We don't really have time to get way into this topic, but there's handlers. So we have this whole situation of handlers, and people are like, she's a handler, he's a handler, is my husband a handler, my mother a handler, whatever. But what we see is we all handle each other. And you know, I would have to go into a big, long explanation of that. But my daughters and I handle my daughters. My daughters try to handle me. It's that recognizing that you're trying to be manipulated, that's important. But again, I don't see one person. Usually in a relationship, you can exchange energy to benefit, or you can exchange energy to detriment. So I think that whole psychic vampire thing is a little bit of a legend, because I don't understand or see how energy is exchanged, because we all exchange energy positively and negatively, you know?
Exactly. It's an equal exchange. And sometimes we hold on to their energy, like wearing back. The way I see it is I see people like Pigpen from the cartoons. Like they're just holding on to this big dark cloud around them, and they just suck everybody and everything in. Yeah. You're in North Carolina. We're in West Virginia. You know what coal mining is. You know what a coal miner looks like.
I know what the towns are. Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Okay, that's what I see a lot of times with some people when they come for a reading. Is it's just like they're carrying around enough coal that they should go and put it into a trailer and drag it up and get their back.
Wow.
And I think that people get labeled as unknowing psychic vampires because there is that other case that's like, no, I know you're a fucking psychic vampire because I see you do 30 readings and you're bouncing off the chair.
Well, a good example of a psychic vampire is any person that puts on a concert.
Mm-hmm.
They're absorbing that loosh from everybody that goes to the concert. That's why they get high, even if they're not already high. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, that's them not being able to deal with their abilities. Like, sorry, it's self-medication in one way or another.
Right. And, so you're paying. It's so interesting. So we pay these expensive tickets to feed our energy to these beings that we worship. It's kind of really effed up. I mean, I just wish more people understood. I always say, and that's where sometimes I feel like I'm screaming into a void. How can you win in life if you don't understand who you are and where you are and how it works? So
and what you really want. I mean, how many teachers do we have that do not want to be teachers? How many accountants do we have that hate being accountants? How many lawyers that suck at practicing law because they don't want to do it?
Right. Well, I always say you can't, get what you want if you don't know what you want, which is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Right?
The people that get programmed into, they said I was smart, so I had to be a doctor. Oh, you're going to be a doctor when you grow up. You're programming them at 3 when it's like, no, they could be a really good artist in the Picasso, but instead they're doing surgery and plastic surgery.
Yeah, choose again, dude. Choose again. Choose something. Yeah. Take a risk. Choose something different. Exactly. Choose again.
Exactly. All right, honey, where can they find you? Do you got classes? I know you mentioned the Substack and a community. Where can they get all that?
So, I have a Patreon, Secret to Everything. My YouTube, Kimberly McGeorge, Secret to Everything. I have a Substack, Kimberly McGeorge. So you can find me. Just type in either Secret to Everything or my name, and secrettoeverything.com is my website. So yeah, I really appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Not a problem. And there is a lot of information on Secret to Everything. Go in there. She's got blogs up. She's got articles up. If we have trickled your mind and given you something to think about, dig into it. All right, guys, we're going to take a break. And coming up, Joe will be figuring out if he's the asshole this week. See you guys in a little bit. Bye, Kimberly.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love diving into metaphysical topics, psychic insights, and lively discussions? Now you can help keep the conversation going. By becoming a Patreon supporter of The Psychic Coffee Shop, you'll gain access to exclusive content, behind-the-scenes insights, and special perks just for our patrons. Join our community and ensure that your favorite psychic show continues to thrive. Your support helps us bring more enlightening episodes, special guests, and deep dives into the world of the unseen. Become a patron today and enjoy a cup of wisdom with us every week. Click the link to join the baristas and unlock exclusive content. Thank you for your support.
Unlock your full potential with Aeson Knight's life coaching. Are you ready to take control of your life and manifest the future you deserve? Aeson Knight, a seasoned life coach and master psychic, is here to guide you on a transformative journey. Whether you're navigating personal challenges, career transitions, or seeking spiritual growth, Aeson's life coaching services offer tailored guidance to help you achieve your goals. With Aeson by your side, you'll discover the tools to overcome obstacles, embrace your true self, and create a life filled with purpose and fulfillment. His unique blend of spiritual insight and practical coaching empowers you to turn your dreams into reality. Ready to make a change? Book your session today and start your journey to a more empowered, balanced, and joyful life with Aeson Knight. Click the link to schedule your first session and step into your power.
Are you ready for an electrifying podcast experience that keeps you coming back for more? Join Aeson Knight every week as he takes you on a journey through captivating shows, each exploring unique and fascinating topics. And here's the best part. By subscribing, you'll never miss an episode where you can get your burning questions answered live on air, absolutely free. Whether it's relationship advice, career guidance, or mystical insights, Aeson's podcasts have got you covered. When you subscribe, you become part of a vibrant community, engaging directly with Aeson as he shares his wisdom and leaves you feeling empowered and enlightened. Don't miss out. Subscribe now and be part of the conversation. What you'll get by subscribing: Monday, 5 p.m., Metaphysics. Today, soulful conversations with Aeson Knight and Firefly, exploring the essence of metaphysics in today's world. Tuesday, 8 p.m., The Psychic Coffee Shop. Dive into current events with a psychic twist, featuring special guests and thought-provoking discussions. Friday, 9 p.m., The Mountain Bears Podcast. Lively discussions from a gayish, techie-ish, bearish perspective with Aeson and Joe. Sunday, 5 p.m., Psychic That Plans. Get a weekly tarot energy overview and time management tips from Aeson Knight. Click here to subscribe now and never miss an episode. By subscribing, you're not just tuning in, you're joining a community of curious minds and ensuring you're always in the loop with Aeson's insightful and interactive shows. Don't wait. Hit that subscribe button and get ready for an amazing podcast journey.
Ready for an enchanting journey of self-discovery? Join Lord Aeson Knight in our Wicca courses. Unveil the secrets of Wicca. Explore deity relationships, rituals, and more. As a third-degree high priest, Aeson Knight guides you toward empowerment and enlightenment. Enroll today and take your first step into the magical circle. Click the link to begin your journey.
Psychic Saturday. Get 50% off with Aeson Knight every third Saturday of the month. Don't miss out. Book now.
All right, welcome back. Just a reminder that that needs updated is Psychic The Plans is no more. The month ahead is now the energy overview and the monthly setup to the Psychic Planner. So there's no more Sunday shows. Anyhow, do you have the post? Oh, you do.
I do. I've got it. I am up and ready to go.
Awesome.
All right. So this one I think is a fun one. Am I the asshole for refusing to let my wife spend my money on her best friend? My wife has known her best friend since middle school. Her friend is a lawyer and her family is quite well off. She makes a lot and is pretty generous with it. My wife has had a few things paid for by her. Specifically, she covered my wife's portion of her bachelorette trip. The other friends didn't make much, and so she covered it. She also paid for a portion of my wife's rent twice, and she normally pays the bills if she and my wife go out for food. This friend is now marrying a doctor, and I don't think they have any trouble with paying for anything they want. My wife is a stay-at-home mom, and I'm a mechanic. I brought home a bonus of $3,000, and when I told my wife, she immediately started talking about getting her friend a really expensive necklace from this brand she knows her friend really wants. She showed me, and the cheapest necklace is $2,000 on the website. She insists I should spend the bonus on a wedding gift for her friend. I don't think wedding gifts even exceed $100. She began fighting with me, saying I buy lunch out of the house and I have stupid hobbies that cost a lot of money, so why can't she spend some money like buying her friend a necklace? I do spend a bit on my hobbies and I have 2 cars, but I also work my ass off and her friend can definitely pay for it herself. She is marrying a doctor and they already have a house, whereas we are still renting. I told her she is being insane and she insists we sit down and tally up everything I spent on myself in the last year, and if it's higher than $2,000, I should pay for the necklace. I think it's ridiculous to compare the two, and I'm refusing to let her buy her friend a ridiculously expensive gift. She insists her friend has spent a lot on her, and I also saved money because her friend pays for meals and activities whenever they hang out, so she doesn't have to spend our money. I get that the lopsided relationship isn't the best, but then she should refuse to do anything that costs too much and let her friend decide if she wants to just hang out without doing anything that costs money. She refuses to talk to me now, and I'm wondering if I'm the asshole here. Ooh. I I almost passed this one by and went, oh, it's another wedding one. It's another money one. But then I read through it and I was like, there's a couple of schools of thought going on here.
Well, I think that there's a few schools of thought, but I also think that there's a few schools of unavailable thought.
Okay.
Wife that's going, well, you spend all this on your hobbies and your lunch out and yada, yada. Great. What have you spent on you this year? If we're going to tally this up, then let's tally it up evenly.
Yeah, my money brought me in.
Right.
Yeah, there's a lot of ownership here.
Right.
So you're I hate to inform you, OP.
Mm-hmm.
When you got married, it quit being my money.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of went into the magical pot known as our money.
Right. Or the house.
Yeah.
Right. You know.
Oh yeah, should. Yeah, I think she should spend within her means. I also think there's a realization here that, like, one, I think OP's wife has had this wish to be able to do something kind of big, impressive, expressive for her friend.
Right.
And that it can be kind of hard when you're working with a one-income household and that income is very disparate from a two-income household, both of which are
upper class
education professionals.
Right.
That's kind of a
right.
It doesn't mean you can't be friends, but it means that you can often feel like either, as one friend is, always picking up the bill, and as the other friend is, never really being able to contribute.
Right. And I think that where you have to draw the line at, all right, let's take this bonus situation first. First of all, in my opinion, $2,000 of that bonus should go to any bills, credit cards, car payment, whatever.
Like if they're behind on anything, yes.
Forget behind, carrying debt.
Right.
Okay. $2,000 of that goes there, or an emergency fund. Then you have this other $1,000. Give your wife $500 and tell her to go do what she wants with that amount. And you do what you want with the other $500.
I do think that's probably the better choice they could make.
Right.
Or using, like saving $2,000, spend $1,000, split it evenly.
Right.
Like if
Right.
Because they are still currently running and would hopefully be looking towards buying.
Right.
Socking away $2,000, doesn't come often.
Right.
And emergency funds and things like that. But assuming they have a nice balanced budget to begin with, and it's not all, hand to mouth and paycheck to paycheck.
Right. Then you split it.
Yeah.
And I think that's what needs to start happening with the paychecks. Bills are paid and the rest is split.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they seem to be on very different pages, and I there's a lot of things going on with this.
Exactly.
The part that hit me though is like this expectation OP has that, and I think it gets unfortunate for people, and it's why sometimes these kinds of friendships don't always work out. Is this moment of, well, she's a lawyer, he's a doctor, they can afford it.
All right.
I mean, sometimes age is an important aspect here.
Right.
Like, are we talking about, people in their 50s, 60s, 70s? Or are we talking about newish professionals?
Right.
Saddled, even if they are well off, potentially saddled with student loans and, all of the things that can go into getting those lovely degrees. Like, if you're talking mid-20s, late 20s,
Mm-hmm.
they don't have that money yet.
Right.
They will have that money. They have some nice credit and
Mhm.
some future potential, and they're getting some good paychecks.
Right.
But there's a lot that went into that.
Right.
It didn't just magically. It's not like you show up at the end of your degree and someone hands you a $10 million check. Like, Ed
Right.
McMahon does not appear when you become a doctor, when you become a lawyer,
Right.
and just, well, here you go. Here's your money. Life's great now.
Right.
Doesn't work that way.
Right.
So there can be a pretty big disparity in reality.
Right.
That yeah, they're going to be high income earners long term. This is going to be great.
Right.
But expecting or necessarily taking advantage
Mm-hmm.
of friends who are making good money
Right.
is still kind of ugly.
Right.
And I think it's a horrible expectation to have.
Right.
Yeah, that's where I'm at there, Brenda. It's
Right.
like you're putting a lot, like we have some broken assumptions about what it means
Right.
to be a doctor or be a lawyer.
Right.
Over the long term, you can earn a lot of money.
Right.
And potentially you're going to be starting out
Right.
a lot higher than maybe OP did.
Mm-hmm.
And I get all that, but at the same time, there's also a gap
Right.
that slowly erodes
Mm-hmm.
from when you leave high school, hoping
Right.
potentially at the same time, and then that immediately go to work or immediately go to college. That creates a delay where all you do is assume debt.
Right.
Typically.
Right.
Yeah, possible kids on the way, paying off school loans and getting a house and things for a house. They may not be as set with money. Yeah.
Right.
Like, again,
Yeah.
like we all have our crunch periods.
Exactly. And some of us live in crunch periods. But at the same time, looking at this overall, I am like, this is, this
I
is a
don't
sticky
think the
situation.
necklace. Yeah, I don't think the necklace is the best choice of ways to spend that bonus.
Right. And wedding presents are supposed to be for both. Is the husband going to wear this necklace?
Well, yeah. Typically, you want your wedding presents. I mean, unless someone went crazy on the wedding registry,
Mm-hmm.
they're supposed to be for
Yeah.
the couple, not just the
Right.
groom or the bride.
Right.
So, I'm struggling with like what to call this one.
I say everyone is shitty here.
I think that's fair. I think the wife's plan is kind of ridiculous.
Right.
I think her OP's opinion is kind of knuckle dragging.
Right.
That just exploit your friend or don't do anything.
Right.
Possibly you can find the middle ground, and quite frankly,
Right.
and I think the part that OP needs to realize is unless y'all work this out,
Right.
I don't think your stay at home is going to be a stay at home
Right.
much longer.
Exactly.
Because it sounds like she's really having problems with not having her own.
Right. Money and
Yeah.
expenses and bills and doing everything.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
So best of luck on that one. All right, so up with the poll.
Poll is up, and we're going to take this question on.
Ooh, got a question. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of inferiority going on there.
Right.
All right. So methods of vetting psychics. So from our psychic, methods of vetting psychics, I'm wondering if any of you folks have suggestions on how to vet a psychic for readings. I've had a very strong feeling for years now that I need to speak to one. But the one time I paid for a self-described pet psychic to help me with a very high needs rescue dog, I got a fraud. She told me so much objectively blatant garbage, like my dog isn't anxious, he's just seeing angels, when all of his body language is pure anxiety, that I felt like an idiot for even trying. I don't mind paying someone for their time. I just don't appreciate being scammed. So, any suggestions, thoughts? I'd appreciate any insight.
All right. My opinion. Google is your friend. Get out there and Google them. Where are they working? What's their feedback? Where are they at? They should have a Facebook. They should have an Instagram. You should be able to see some of their work, whether it's a TikTok, whether it's a podcast like this. What are the thoughts and beliefs, and can you agree with them? What's their clients say? And I'm not just talking about the 5 stars. Oh my God, he's a genius. I'm talking about the 1 stars that says he's rude. 1 star. He cut me off after telling me exactly what he thought I needed to hear. Not very helpful.
Yeah.
Look at those 1 stars. I'll tell you my 1 stars. Rude. Hung up on the client.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not going to waste your money going, huh? What? Huh?
It can be the advantage, but also sometimes the downfall of using, like, if you use the networks, it can very much be like speed dating a psychic.
Right.
You can hang up and call the next. Hang up, call the next.
Right.
Do you find someone of value? The only downside to it is once you do, more often than not, you're going to be locked in on that network with that psychic. Unless you do a lot of very hard work and they have put in the work to have their own website where you can contact them privately.
Right.
But it also depends upon what do you need.
Yeah. Look at Terra Alpha Society. Look at Bob Orman's American's Best Psychics or American's Best Mediums. Look for reputable organizations that vet the hell out of these people. On a periodic basis, they vet them. On a periodic basis, they do calls, and it's like, oh, you're selling spells, goodbye. Yes, you have to do a little due diligence. You don't just go to the closest doctor in town. You don't just go talk to one lawyer in town and hire them immediately. Take a look what's out there.
Ooh. I like one of the comments on this one.
Okay, go for it.
First thing is to find their website. If they don't have one, move on. So SM or psychic platform is a buyer beware kind of thing, and so many people use AI now. You haven't a clue who is doing what. Right. Once you navigate to their website, check out their articles and general content. That will tell you if it's just thrown together like an Etsy shop, or if they are in business and able to accept responsibility for what they do. This can be created by a website guru, but the information will still be all theirs, especially if it's kept updated. Something else to look for. To be listed in Google Business, one has to provide a street address. Now, this is the part where I would start to argue is that can be a very touch and go thing in the psychic community. Listing your home address for your business.
Right.
And I think that's one comment that should probably, like, I can understand it on one hand. Like, if you're going to list your home address, you're probably pretty friggin' solid in terms of legitimacy. However, you're taking a pretty heavy risk there as a psychic. I don't know that I love that one so much.
I know. But these other things here. Have a picture.
Yep. Now, the next part was if you like the look of someone but still aren't sure, plug their name into any search engine and you should find a decent presence beyond.
Right.
So beyond the network, beyond the hi, there you go.
Yeah.
And then reviews are tricky because on Reddit alone, there are many free readings for reviews, but there are very few, if any, places that they can't be manipulated to favor the reader.
Mm-hmm.
So there have been attempts to clean this up over the years, but it is a bit behind the ability of programs to adjust or delete things. That is about it. To be sure about what you're getting, most full-time professionals range services down to single queries for $20. I wouldn't spend more than that. So there is another clue. $2 yes or no is usually bunk, while overpricing doesn't usually mean a thing about the ability of the reader. Lastly, knowing what type of reading you want. Someone who can see well into the future is always optimum. How they do that can be less important. Good luck out there.
Right. But no, but Google, love Google. Pop my name in there. It'll pop up. It'll pop up stuff from the 90s. I was looking on it because I often Google myself to see what the search engines are looking at. They found a dead site from like 2001. And I was like, really? Wow. This is still up?
In the Wayback Machine somehow.
No, the website's just sitting there. It's an article that I done.
Oh.
Like, I don't know how they've paid the web package or if it's one of those forever plans or whatever. The article's still there. You can see my history by looking online for me. You can see that I've been on Keno most 23 years.
Oh, yeah. You know. But no, I think that minus the Google business,
right?
That's all valid advice,
right?
I think that one, I don't necessarily want someone to put as much stock into,
right?
Because it's a big choice,
right,
for psychics,
right?
Which way you want to go with that,
right? But my stuff's online. And it has been for a century. Wouldn't show up at my door, but like I even have an IMDb. I have, a Pinterest. I have all of it. Bob's Best American, 10 Best Psychic Readers.
So yeah, I think the other thing I could add here is look for social media presence.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably one of your bigger ones, and what kind of content is there.
Right.
But also look at like a YouTube presence.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you can start to get a real feel for like what are you gonna get.
Right.
Especially if you're talking about someone who has sort of like you do, a channel that goes back for years.
Right.
Look at who they were last month. Look at who they were 2 years ago. Look at who they were 10 years ago. If that content goes back, however far that content goes back, and see what kind of consistency they have. Like, is it roughly the same personality? Like, roughly the same kind of interactions? Or does it like change and jump and never seem like it has continuity?
I just found that I'm on a site I don't know exists.
Oh, wow. Why do I see a cease and desist letter being sent in your future?
What do you see? Let's bring this up.
I'm just saying, because usually when you find yourself somewhere you didn't know you were, you typically have just found somewhere
all right.
don't want to be.
Let's bring this up. Let's talk about this because this happens a lot.
Soul experts.
Yes. Soul experts. I don't have a face. There is no picture.
I can unblock your body that you can receive more luck, love, happiness, health, money in your life. I am highly intuitive and clairvoyant, also works as a psychotherapist.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a fake Aeson.
This is a fake Aeson. There is no
At
picture.
$2 a minute?
Yeah.
Or $2 period?
Yeah, fees $2.
Well, yep. See, I was right. There's going to be a cease and desist.
Yes, there will be, and a DNC takedown.
Well, there's no protected content to take down. They're just using your name.
Yes.
Like they were smart. They only used your name.
Mm-hmm. So, best psychic readings on. Yeah, this site is not for real.
No.
Okay. One, I am not a psychotherapist.
No.
Two, this ain't my profile.
Yeah, but someone was very happy to reuse your name and hope you
right. And brand. Go here to reset password.
I don't know. You want to type your email in?
No user found.
Yeah. So, however they're logging in, it's not is someone.
It's not me. It isn't me. I have one account that controls my password. One account. And this is what I mean. Okay, if you go to back to where we were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's look at my key. Let me bring up my key.
Yeah. You may have to switch tabs to show them.
I will. Well, I got to get into the actual listing first.
Okay.
Back to Googling myself. Yeah, well, let's not even do King. Let's go over to Bob. Stop sharing. Share screen. Here you go, Bob. Love Bob. Bob's site's amazing. No, I'm not available because I'm on a podcast.
Yeah.
Very detailed information. Very detailed profile.
Mm-hmm.
When I was listed on the site back in 2008, yes, I'm that old. Stop whining. Yes, my profile, I believe, can vote. Reviews.
Your profile just got a driver's license.
Yeah. (2008), 2017, 2016, 2014, 2011, 2008.
Better question: are any of them negative?
No, they're not. Of course, those are verified reviews, so they've had to back themselves.
Okay.
Okay.
Which is kind of important,
right,
to note that these are not just randoms.
Right. Like Bob verifies every review.
Well, Brenda points out vampires never age. So
thank you, honey. I really needed that today. But this
only because I made that one comment at Dollar General.
Oh no! Do you want to tell them what you've done today?
What? No, we're not telling them that.
Yes, we are.
We're not.
Fine, I'm telling them that.
Okay, you tell them
We go to vote. I wake up my normal time, get my lovely bullet, get dressed, head out the door. I had to remember to put on my glasses so I could remember to hit the buttons I wanted to hit. Go in to vote, get out of the car. Leave this in the car because you cannot take a food or drink in to voting. Okay, fine. Come back out, sit down. Okay, I need to go to the grocery store. I need this, I need that. Yep.
Meanwhile,
sorry,
wrong side.
Joe puts his sticker on. You have a question to answer.
I threw away the backing paper, okay?
Yeah.
I cleaned out the car, which, by the way, if you want to know, the rear floorboard of a 2008 Kia Sportage will comfortably hold a 30 gallons of trash before it levels with the seat.
Actually, it's 50, but anyhow.
Okay.
But anyhow. So I come out of the grocery store. I finally go to take a drink, and I always stir it up because these things settle. I hear something rattling in there. So I put it back down, and I told him, I said, I think there's something in my can.
So I go places with that. Like, is this a manufacturing problem? Like, what happened? What's going on? So he's like, when we get home, I want to cut the can open.
Right.
So, okay, we finally got home. We'll spare you the gory details of the trip home.
Yeah.
But we finally got home.
Mm-hmm.
And so I come in and I basically cut open the can because I'm sorry, I already know because of the pop in,
mm-hmm.
anything you try to pour out of it is going to get hooked and stuck, and it's not just going to come out. Like, I already know this. I've tried doing that before. It doesn't work. You have to cut it open.
Right. What do we find in my coffee?
At first, I thought it was an alcohol pad.
Mm-hmm.
Which I was like, well, that'd make you sick.
Yeah.
And then it was like, well, was that like, those have like, generally it's an alcohol pad, or could it have been something else, like soaked in something else? Like, did someone get into the car while we were inside the polling place? And then why would they do that? Nothing about our cars spouted a political association unless you immediately judged us walking in and went, that's the gay. It's like, but I don't think that happened.
Right.
Meanwhile, I've totally forgotten about the backing paper for my sticker.
Mm-hmm.
That I apparently, and I swear to God, I folded it up, and because I hadn't replaced the little trash bag around the gear yet, you had already managed a can in the floorboard.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was putting it in that, and I guess I got distracted. And I put it in your open active can. Not realizing there was anything in it.
Right.
Like, I didn't pick it up. I didn't have a clue.
Right.
Oh. So,
yeah. Okay, that explains the rest of the reaction.
What?
Guess what guess what is in sticker paper?
I don't know. I thought it was just wax paper.
What is glue made out of?
Dead horses?
Try again.
I don't know.
You performed a slim fast on me.
Oh. Sorry for your glutenization.
Yep.
Well, now we go to the gory details because it didn't stay down long.
No.
At all. Like, so if you saw a white SUV veering off of 19 today
mm-hmm.
while slamming on its brakes, That was us.
Yes. Anyhow, let's see how the poll rolls. Ew, 100% grab the vinegar. You're a dill pickle.
Yep.
He's in a dill pickle, all right. All right, guys. We hope you've enjoyed the show. Please go check out The Secrets to Everything. Kimberly is a freaking intelligent person. A lot of information there, a lot to dig into. And I'm going to tell you, you're going to need teaspoons. You can only take it in teaspoons because it is a lot of stuff. If you get a chance to take one of her courses, do so. And we will see you Friday.
Absolutely. So now, of course, we need to thank our lovely Patreon sponsors.
If the mouse will cooperate. There we go.
There we go. All right. So, of course, we want to thank Beverly Walker, Mika G, Brenda, Joan Owen, Shannon C, Shannon D, Lady Gwendolyn, Caitlin Bell, Devin, Bella, and Maria Meyer. If you'd like to learn more about us, the show, or how you too can become a Patreon sponsor and receive all the wonderful benefits our baristas receive, please visit us at pcspnetwork.com.
Yes. All right, guys. You have a magical evening, and we'll see you Friday. Bye.
Bye.
Hi, dear.
Hey, the baby bear.
How are you?